Okay. Lily said, "You're choking and now you're getting your ass whipped. What is going on?" Don't worry about it, babe. Bang Boo Fall Guys is a very serious game. Alright. Alright, lock in. Here we go. Have you seen the Varka teaser? We'll watch it later. So we got strawberry milk candy. Boom. The Hojo family is well known for going against the whole village during the dam conflict. Ooh. Both the husband and wife were rather aggressive and they fought a fierce battle, especially against the Sonozaki family. Although the whole village treated them coldly, the husband and wife didn't really care and kept on fighting. In a way, they were extremely strong-willed people. They did something with Bang Bros server. Me and Shino were in every game together since we're both from EU. They added ping prior or some shit. Hashima, you were literally in my lobby. What are you talking about? I'm sure their children had to go through a lot because of them, though. Once? Okay, Kashima, did you notice when I first started Bang Bros on stream, the queue time was 16 seconds, and by the time it was like 10 minutes, 15 minutes in, it was down to 5 seconds? I'd like to venture to guess there are a lot of fucking fucker fobbits in this goddamn stream that were trying to stream snipe me, because the queue time went down to fucking by 10 seconds, okay? So that's probably why. I had queue timer up to 20 seconds. Ooh, get fucked. Satoko-chan and Satoshi-kun were treated coldly by the villagers as well. In addition to that, Satoko-chan and her stepfather didn't get along, so their stress levels must have been reached their limits. Because I'm the director of the local clinic, a rather respected member of society, people usually tell me a lot of things, so I was aware of the treatment they were receiving even before I met them. I met Satoshi-kun first. Satoshi-kun came to the clinic because he felt ill from too much stress. He must have thought he had a cold. When I examined him, he even told me that. But hearing his repeated sighs and by seeing the exhausted look in his eyes, I knew right away it wasn't just a simple cold. Medication would heal his symptoms, but that'd only be a temporary measure. The only way to truly cure him would be to change his living environment. But that was easier said than done. He was surrounded by tangled and complicated relationships with the village and his family, so just resting for a few days and taking some medication wouldn't do. Time was the only thing that could ease off the cold treatment from the villagers, but we were talking a very, very long time. That's why I felt I had to be their first ally in this village, so I could rescue them. I couldn't do anything about his stressful environment, but I could try to diminish the anxiety. So I thought the best way was to teach him how to vent his stress. Playing sports is the best way to do that. So I asked him to join the junior baseball team. Oh, what's up, Jamalu? Is this the last arc? Yep, after this, there is no more Higurashi. Higurashi is dead after this. Rejoice. As a researcher, I devote most of my time to Hinamizawa syndrome, but I too need to do something else to relax. I used to play baseball, so I decided to coach the local kids team. After a while, the children of Hinazawa started their own baseball team, and somehow I became their coach. Doctors can't provide health just by giving medication. I got hiccups or something. You need a sound mind in a sound body. I believe health can be maintained through sports as well. but our team needed more people. So I thought of asking Satoshi-kun to join. Being a bookworm, Satoshi-kun wasn't interested in playing sports. He wasn't sure how joining the baseball team would help his situation. I didn't need to go on and on about athletic medicine to explain why sports help people become healthy. I just wanted him to experience it himself, to realize how great it feels to play sports. I think he realized it gradually. He was reluctant until the very end, but he attended all of the team activities and games. As I saw Satoshi-kun slowly regain his liveliness, I realized my plan worked. However, if Satoshi-kun was under that much stress, then Satoko-chan, who lived in the same family climate, must have felt the same way. Unfortunately, I didn't think of her back then. So when Satoko-chan was carried into my clinic as a patient, I regretted doing nothing about her, even while knowing the situation. As Satoshi-kun recovered under my guidance, Satoko-chan was left alone in her stressful environment. Also, around that time, there was an incident bad enough to make Satoko-chan collapse. That was, of course, her parents' death. The day of the Watanagashi festival was a very uncomfortable time for the Hojo family, because although it was a village festival, it was also a day to celebrate victory over the dam construction project. It's understandable that they would plan a family trip around that time so they could leave the village. Satoko-chan's parents fell off the cliff at the park they were visiting. Who pushed them off, huh? It happened on such an unlucky day. Because it happened on the day of Watanagashi. People said it was the curse of Oyashiro-sama, and people labeled the Hojo family as the one that was cursed by Oyashiro-sama. The parents were given the cold shoulder by everyone in the village, so with their parents gone, Satoshi and Satoko should have been freed from that, but unfortunately the accident happened on the day of Watanagashi. That's why the members of the Hojo family continue to be shunned. Satoko-chan was the only one who was at the site of the accident. Oh, huh. Satoshi-kun didn't go on the trip because he had an event with the baseball team. Therefore, the police mainly interrogated her. The detective, Oishi, suspected an act of organized crime by the village, so with Satoko-chan as the only witness on the side, he drilled her with questions. She was as stressed as Satoshi-kun, perhaps even more, so of course she couldn't take it. During the interrogation, she began to wheeze and gasp for air. The anguished look I saw on Satoko-chan's face when she was carried into the clinic was very, very tragic. It broke my heart just to imagine what she had to go through. Okay, wait, this is also, now this should activate where Satoko rejected, yeah, Satoko rejects Satoshi visiting her.
安心してください。一時的に混乱してしまっただけですよ。やっと薬でぐっすり眠れたところです。できれば起こさないであげたいところです。
Maybe it's not this?
しばらくゆっくり休ませてあげましょう。様子を見て数日入院させてあげるのもいいかもしれません。大丈夫。私に任せてください。
ありがとうございます。
I don't know, Iria, you're a bit of a fucking creep. I know Satoshi-kun is a great big brother who truly cares about his sister. He empathizes deeply with her. In other words, Satoshi-kun's worries and stress were reflecting Satoko-chan herself. Maybe I shouldn't say this, but while Satoshi-kun was, of course, sad about his parents' death, he may at the same time have been a little relieved that they were gone. His sister wouldn't have to been driven into a corner anymore. Unlike Satoshi-kun, Satoko-chan didn't have the social skills to get along with her stepfather. So putting her mother aside, I was certain that losing her father, the greatest cause of stress in her life, would bring great change to her home environment. But I couldn't believe what happened next. The two were sent to live in an even worse environment with their aunt and uncle. Although at that time, I was rather optimistic, thinking this new environment would be better for the siblings. Idiot! Okay, so Satoko didn't reject Satoshi's visit. Oh, wait. This might be Satoko POV. Maybe not. Satoshi-kun is a good brother who takes care of his sister. No, probably not. He went to visit Satoko-chan straight after school and kept encouraging her to get better every day. Without even hearing Satoshi-kun's stories, it's obvious to me that Satoko-chan never had a good relationship with her step-parents. She especially didn't get along with her stepfather. Satoko-chan even called a child abuse hotline once. Not only that, her parents ended up dying in an accident, so she just wasn't able to withstand all that damage. Satoko-chan is still very young, so everything must have been horrible for her to go through. Fortunately, she has a wonderful brother. Emotional wounds are hard to heal, but nothing heals those wounds better than love from family members. I'm sure that one day Satoko-chan will be able to smile again. She's still in shock, but when she talks to Satoshi-kun, she smiles a little bit. Oishi from the police department keeps requesting to see her, but I think I need to protect her for just a little longer. While he's passionate about his job, I wish he'd be a touch more sensitive. If he reminds her of her parents' accident, her emotional wounds will start to open again. That's the one point I worry about with Satoko-chan. I heard someone knocking on the door. It was Takano-san. Doesn't look right wearing a nurse's uniform like that. She's a licensed doctor, so she should wear a white coat and act like one. Maybe this is fun for her, but I think she might be insulting to real nurses. I didn't say anything though.
入江先生、ちょっとよろしいですか？
ああ、はい。それではサトシ君、私は失礼します。
はい。
サトシ君、サトコちゃんと遊んであげててね。ずっと一人でいるからきっと寂しいと思うの。ね？
そんなことございませんわよ。
ではサトシ君、よろしくお願いします。
I got up and let Satoshi-kun take over.
ところで、何かありましたか？
Wait, maybe Takano suggests dissecting.
ここではなんですので、所長室で。
Takano-san smiled meaningfully. Usually smiles bring happy feelings, but when it comes to Takano-san, that's rarely the case.
それは本当ですか？
ええ、簡易検査の結果、レベル3以上と思われる高い発症レベルの可能性が指摘されました。
Level 3.
彼女をさらに入院させ、より精度の高い検査を行う必要があります。結果待ちですが、私の見たところ、レベル4の可能性すらあり得るかと。
Takano-san's eyes sparkled in a weird way. There's a reason for that. For us, finding patients in the terminal stage is a valuable boon to our research. In fact, as a result of dissecting the murder suspect from last year, we've made great progress in our research. In other words, we finally managed to isolate the pathogen. We also discovered that when the host dies, the pathogen melts away within a few hours. Once that happens, it's undetectable. That's why we never found a pathogen when we performed autopsies. Our research made a lot of progress after that. What we found in this past year has easily surpassed that of what the late Dr. Takano found in the decades. We're now studying the nature, the effect, and symptoms of the pathogen, as well as treatments and vaccines. In other words, a living specimen who's at the terminal stage is a necessity for our research. However, we rarely find a patient who's gone that far, who's reached L5. Hinamizawa syndrome once created huge numbers of L5 patients, but today it doesn't have such potency. Because of that, we have to secure L5 patients, or patients who are close to reaching L5 as quickly as possible. Satoko-chan possibly qualifies to be that next sacrifice. To keep this strange disease secret, we can't let patients who may be at L5 go. We have to run more tests first. Then we'll figure out what to do next. In any case, Satoko-chan seems so calm. Her behavior is nothing like the man from last year. Initial tests are in error sometimes. We'll have to wait for the results of more detailed tests to determine how serious her condition is.
経過観察のため入院ということにしましょう。スタッフの皆さんへの手配をお願いいたします。
That sounds like a formal answer, but if the results come back positive, that will be the green light for her dissection. I don't know Satoko-chan that well, but I've known her brother Satoshi-kun through the baseball team for a long time. How could I dissect the apple of Satoshi-kun's eyes? I can feel scary images flashing in my head for the first time. Oh boy.
ご安心を。万事すでに手配させておりますわ。
Oh, this bitch a fucking psychopath. She smiled as if telling me that the dissection is already being prepared for. Or, what? Prepared for too. Is it just her who's smiling? Am I smiling like her too? When I dissected that man last year, I did feel guilt beforehand. But once I started, it was like I was in paradise. All the pieces of the puzzle that were left by the late Dr. Takano fell into place. At the same time, they didn't. How exciting it was. Knowing that we are the first ones to take the first steps to solve a mystery, that is. I don't even know how to explain this feeling to those who have never experienced it. There's no way to describe it with words. The only thing I can say is that even a year later, I still remember it vividly. So the results show that Satoshi-kun's beloved sister is to be dissected. Can I control myself? Can I stay calm? But that means I'm a failure of a human being. I know very well that the Hojo family was treated poorly by the villagers, and I know that Satoko-chan had to go through. Also, I know Satoshi-kun loves his sister. Satoshi-kun loves his sister, who is his one and only blood relative. How can I dissect Satoko-chan using my research as an excuse? I didn't feel much guilt for the man from last year, but I feel unbearable guilt towards Satoko-chan. That means what I did last year was very sinful. I don't care if a stranger dies, but I don't want Satoko-chan to die. That's not right. All lives are equally precious. I tried to convince myself that he was a violent murderer, but maybe he only became that way because he was at the terminal stage. I don't know anything about him before he became deranged. Maybe he was a model citizen who was worthy of respect. Unfortunately, he became ill and ended up doing what he did. Maybe he was a victim himself, just like my father. I know more about Hinazawa syndrome than anybody. This disease makes people act in bizarre ways, without those people realizing it. So when the people at the terminal stage do such strange and violent things, one should be sympathetic. I already knew that back when I decided to go down this path. I should have remembered it sooner, but I only did this just now. I finally realized what sinful research I'm working on. Satoko Hojo's detailed test results came back. The results say L5. She's at the terminal stage of the terminal stage. Oh shit. It's actually a surprising result. In last year's case, the patient was extremely deranged. According to Takano-san's records, he complained about itching coming from the lymph nodes all over his body and wanted to claw at his throat, just as the late Dr. Takano mentioned. But Satoko-chan isn't displaying such symptoms. Even in the late Takano's data, throat clawing is said to be a characteristic symptom of a terminal stage of patients. However, not all patients experience that symptom. Besides, emotional expression is very different in each person. Even if it's the same emotion, one patient may express it rather violently, another may express it calmly. There's no way of knowing by just looking at a person. But Satoko-chan's detailed test results says that she's at this terminal stage of the terminal stage L5. In other words, she may be feeling what the man from last year was feeling. It's just that she isn't expressing that feeling in the same way the man was. Hinazawa syndrome affects the frontal lobe of the brain. It stimulates the most primitive of emotions, doubt, very strongly. As a result, terminal patients are trapped in delusions and paranoia and end up committing horrible crimes. Satoko-chan seems to show improvement when she's exchanging friendly words with Satoshi-kun. But there's a paranoia stirring inside her that may put her in a deranged stage at any moment. I can't let her leave the clinic like this. However, if things go according to the manual, I will have to make a decision on her dissection. My decision will only be a formality. I can't actually refuse. Takano-san appears to be already working on the dissection schedule. That plan will then come to me. Would I feel the same way while dissecting Satoko-chan? Would I be able to experience that trance once again? No, the question is, can I fight the temptation? As I pretend to question myself, I'm letting Takano-san prepare things on her own. By doing so, am I passively agreeing to Satoko-chan's dissection? Possible, I want to save Satoko-chan. I don't want her to be a sacrifice for this research. I don't want to dissect her. Then, what about the man from last year? Do I only care about the lives of the people I know? If I don't dissect her, do I let her live and leave the clinic? Do I simply wait for her to become deranged and commit a horrible crime? And then she'll end up here just like the man from last year, and I'll end up dissecting her anyway. The man from last year. was dissected alive and kept that way for several months. With his skull left open, he wasn't allowed to die for several months. He was kept alive just for cruel experiments. What the fuck? I don't want to do that to her. I don't know what to do. Even debating and agonizing over it is leading toward consent to her dissection by elimination. Okay. Fucking crazy bitches. Okay, so Edie hasn't made his decision yet, so we can't do that one. That hasn't happened either. That hasn't happened either. None of these have happened yet. Okay, it's this one. What? Wait, we got her test results. Didn't we get rock candy? Oh no, it wasn't rock candy. It was fucking strawberry milk candy. Okay, well, this is the only option left. Mion-san, your friend is here. I heard the housekeeper's voice. Our house and the front yard are huge, so unlike normal houses, ringing a doorbell or yelling my name repeatedly asking to play won't work. Oh my god, it's Mion. Rika Furude-chama.
来たね来たね。抹茶にリカちゃまが来たって伝えてもらえます？多分あっちの縁側にいると思います。私はスイカを引き上げてきますね。
Granny received many beautiful watermelons from somebody, so she wanted to share. I just called the Furude house a short time ago, and Rika-chan is here to pick one. You should come on our bicycle? I can't remember if it was a big enough basket. I pulled the watermelon from the well while thinking about that. The cold water in the well has refrigerated the watermelon, and the condensation makes it look delicious. The 3 members of the Furude family will enjoy it for at least 2 nights.
お持ち帰りだったのですか。僕はてっきり。あれ？おじさんそう言わなかったっけ？
Priest answered the phone, and I thought I told him to come pick it up. Maybe I wasn't clear enough, or maybe he misunderstood me completely. But she's here to eat the watermelon, not to take it home. Besides, the small basket on Rika-chan's bicycle won't hold the watermelon, and it's too dangerous for her to ride while holding it in her hands.
ミオン、お前リカちゃまんちまで超持ってたらな。スイカ片手な自転車なんこがれんて。
僕だってスイカくらい持てますのですよ。
あ、危な。リカちゃまに何かあったらお社様に申し訳立てん。うちのミオンが運ぶんね。
はい、任せられたったら。じゃあついでに神主さんにご挨拶でもしてこようかね。
Flashbang. No matter whether she rides or pushes her bicycle, Rika-chan's hands will be occupied. So I'm going to carry the watermelon. The sky is turning auburn in the sunset. The cool breeze feels good on my sandal feet. The plastic bag I'm carrying contains a watermelon, also some small bags of rock candy. Rock candy, here we go. If her mother finds them, she'll take them away, so we decided to eat them before we got to her home. We opened the bags and enjoyed the rock candy. Rika-chan isn't an exception. Whenever kids from our neighborhood come to our house for errands, Granny gives them some treats. Actually, that's a pretty common rule here in Himzawa. It's funny, but sometimes when parents aren't watching, siblings will fight over who gets to take the circular notice to the next house over. So these bags of rock candy are like tips for them. Of course, she doesn't normally give out this much. Usually, it's just a little piece of it. Granny is being extra nice to Rika-chama.
僕だけこんなにいろいろお駄賃をもらうと 他の人に悪い気がしますです。別に気にすることないんじゃない？おだちんは好意みたいなもんなんだもん。変に断るよりは子供らしくありがとうって言って笑顔を見せる方がよっぽどいいと思うけどね。みーはおだちんをよくもらいますですか？昔はね。でもさすがにこの年になったらもらわなくなったな。今もらうとなんだか子供扱いされてるみたいでかえってカチンとくるかななんてね。僕は子供扱いなのです。いいじゃんいいじゃん。もらえるうちにもらっとけばいい。私くらいになれば欲しくてももらえなくなるんだからさ。
You know, she's never getting old. As we talked about ordinary things, I noticed Rika-chan seemed a little sad.
どうしたの？僕はお買い物に行ってもよくおだちんに飴をもらいますが、さとこは一緒に行ってももらえませんです。
I can think of so many reasons why. Not only Satoko, but everyone in the Hojo family is being treated poorly in Hinazawa. The Sonozaki family are the ones who instigated that. The two damn supporters have died in an accident already, but the malice against the Hojo family is still going. It's directed against Satoko and Satoshi, their children, and the aunt and uncle who are taking care of them. The big fight between the Hojo family and the Sonozaki family at the explanatory meeting started all this. But that was the Hojo couple, and it shouldn't have anything to do with the children and their aunt and uncle. But the idea that the Hojo family are traitors evolved on its own. Therefore, anyone bearing the Hojo name is to be treated poorly. The aunt and uncle weren't damn supporters, so over time the attacks towards them should have stopped. But they're rather odd and they keep having trouble with their neighbors. They don't follow the community rules, they don't do their community duties, and they spray pesticides while their neighbors' laundry is still hanging outside. They often get into fights with the other neighbors. They'd be hated even without the dam. Therefore, the Hojo family continues to be treated poorly. But none of that should have anything to do with Satoko and Satoshi. Satoko and Satoshi are often depressed at school. I tried to leave the conflict between the two families aside, but I wonder how they really feel about that. From their point of view, I'm just another member of the family that keeps harassing them.
せめて学校にはそんな雰囲気を持ち込ませたくない。だから私はそういう風に振る舞ってるつもりだよ。それを学校の中だけでなく外にも広げるにはどうしたらいいのですか？
That'd be pretty difficult. The Hojo family made enemies of the three families. They were branded as traitors and still considered the truth. It wouldn't mean anything if one person suggested an end to the hostilities just because the events around the dam are history now. On the contrary, that would just put them in the same position. Unfortunately for Satoko and Satoshi, the only thing they can do is wait patiently until the issue withers away. All I can do for them is provide an oasis until that day comes.
では、
Yeah, Mion, you're
サトコ
complicit,
たちは
motherfucker.
いつまで耐え忍べばいいのですか？わかんない。ダム戦争は数年に及んだ。
Wait a second, chat. What the hell? Hold up. Okay.
その時に押された烙印を払拭するんだから、それと同じ年数はかかるかもしれないね。それはつまり、サトコたちが大人になるまで誰にも許してもらえないということですか？サトコが子供のうちはずっと村中から冷たい目で見られていろということですか？それはあまりにも辛いね。みー、僕たちはサトコやサトシの仲間なのですよね。そうだよ。私にとってだって仲間だよ。なら僕たちの仲間を救うために僕たちに何かできることはないのでしょうか？私たちに何ができるんだろうね。
This fucking... Even though the Sonozaki family declares that the damn conflict is over, so the Hojo families are no longer outcasts, that won't solve the problem. It's not that simple. In the first place, Granny hates the Hojo family and won't suffer their name to be mentioned in her presence. It's not a matter of someone forgiving another. It's a matter of very complicated ties between the people in this village. It's absolutely terrifying to have them as your enemies. Everyone knows that very well, and that's why they maintain good relationship with their neighbors. However, if you make enemies out of them, you'll have to face the consequences. That's the unwritten law of the Japanese community. And the Sonozaki family is a part of the unwritten law. Now that the Hojo family are outcasts, not even the Sonozaki family can overturn the situation.
ひなみ沢のことはひなみ沢の人間にはどうしようもないということなのでしょうか。悲しいけどそういうこともあるかもしれない。もし里子を救う人が現れてくれるとしたら、それは村のしがらみにとらわれないそういう人なんだろうね。
Heiichi Maebara?
でもそんな人
Not yet.
村にはいない。
There isn't.
村の外から誰かが助けに来なければ救われないということですか？
Like Rika-chan says, would a knight in shining armor from the outside world ever come here? Would that person bring in a new wind into this village that has been filled with stale air for hundreds of years? No way. That's just wishful thinking. Time will solve the problem someday. Until then, I have to be their ally. I can't think of anything else I can do for them. As Rika-chan and I crunched on our rock candy, we can only pray that people will forgive Satoko and her family sooner rather than later. Rika-chan gently broke the heavy silence. Oh shit.
きっと村の外からしがらみにとらわれない人がやってきます。
Oh, Rika already had the power at this point.
そうだね。ダム戦争も終わったんだから、また分譲地に外から人が引っ越してきてくれるといいね。近い年の転校生とか来れば楽しいだろうに。来ます。きっと。そして彼と力を合わせて私たちは村の悪兵を打ち破るのです。それが私たちの未来を閉ざす3つの錠前に対する最初の鍵。え？
Three locks.
何それ？なんかの小説？
Clueless. Rika-chan says some odd things sometimes. When she talks that way, she seems so mature. I even start to doubt she's really younger than I am. The unreasonable antagonism towards the Hojo family. Will there really be someone from the outside who will shatter our old traditions? Okay. So we have rock candy. Okay, so now this has to be... Oh, there we go. A group of boys are playing baseball under the powerful sun. The sound of cicadas make the heat stand out even more, but to those boys, it's just another kind of cheering from the crowds. Of course, they go through training exercises to build stamina, but the boys don't actually like such routine activities. What they look forward to most is the free game after practice. The school in Himazawa is actually borrowed from the forestry service. The schoolyard is made of gravel, so it's not very appropriate for playing sports on. Compared to that, the grounds at the school in Okonomiya are properly maintained for athletic activity, so the kids grow even more energetic when they come here. Kids from Himazawa really don't care if the ground is made of gravel or not. The other instructor is watching the game, so I decided to go get some drinks from the team.
監督、どこへ行くんですか？
皆さんにジュースを買ってこようと思いまして。もしよかったら、サトシ君も手伝ってくださるととても助かるのですが。
はい、お手伝いします。
Satoshi-kun decided to come along with me. His flashbangs. Sometimes kids don't like what grown-ups choose, so I'm glad he agreed to help. Satoshi-kun and I got in the car and headed to the grocery store nearby.
監督、聡子の具合はどうなんですか？
ええ、経過は良好ですよ。本当にゆっくりとですが、聡子ちゃんの心の傷も癒えてきています。もう少しだけ安静にしてあげた方がいいでしょう。
It's natural for Satoshi-kun to be worried. Satoko-chan has been in the hospital for 2 weeks. Of course, he doesn't know his sister has Hinamizawa syndrome. Not only that, she's almost as L5. She could become deranged at any moment. He believes she's depressed because of the shock of their parents' accident. He came to the clinic every day to cheer his sister up, but Satoko-chan has become emotionally unstable and was showing some dangerous symptoms, so we called off the visits. In fact, Satoko-chan is not doing so well. L5, the stage Satoko-chan is at, is a very abnormal one. The man from last year who was at the same stage was acting so abnormal that even a drug addict in his final stage would have turned and ran. There's no guarantee Satoko-chan won't fall into the same condition. When we performed the autopsy on that man last year, we learned the true identity of the syndrome and gained a great understanding of its mechanisms. We even discovered some important facts that may lead to the development of a cure. However, we have yet to find a method of actually curing the disease. So if Satoko-chan becomes unrecoverable, we have to dissect her, just like we did the man from last year. How can I tell Satoshi-kun about his sister's situation? All I can do is make vague comments and lie to him about that she's recovering. What if she becomes much worse? That would make me an unforgivable liar. The tiny bit of conscience that remains in me hurts.
もし監督の診療所のご迷惑でなければ、もうしばらく入院させてもらった方がいいかもしれません。
それはどういう意味ですか？
What do you think, bitch? I thought he wanted her to come home as soon as possible, so I'm a little surprised.
実は聡子あまりおばさん一家とも馴染めていないんです。
聡子ちゃんがご両親とあまり良い関係ではなかったと聞いていましたが、新しく預けられたおばさん夫婦ともなのですか？
聡子は大人にはあまり心を開かないので。
Satoshi-kun has told me about their family background. Their mother's constant remarriage has wounded her children deeply. Satoshi-kun was able to overcome it, but Satoko-chan was too young to be able to do that. That left her traumatized, and she now has a tendency to distrust or dislike guardians who aren't related to her. Actually, nobody would like a guardian who isn't related to them. It's not just Satoko-chan, but usually people try to deal with that even if they don't like it. I guess Satoko-chan's not capable of that.
おじさんはあまり家に帰ってこないし、いても寝てるかテレビを見てるかなので、そんなおばさんがものすごく聡子に絡むんです。
どうしてそんなに嫌われてしまったんでしょうね。
I can guess why. Satoko-chan's parents were damn proponents, and because of that, the villagers considered the aunt and uncle part of the Hojo family and ostracized them as such. Moreover, they passed away suddenly in an accident and left 2 children behind, so I guess there would be more hate there than gratitude. If she had been obedient like Satoshi-kun, everything would be fine. But Satoko-chan can't be that way. She shows that in her attitude and expression, which leads to her and her aunt having a big fight.
僕もおばさんに聡子の事情を説明してはいるのですが、なかなか分かってもらえなくて。
その度に聡子ちゃんをかばってあげるサトシ君はお兄さんの鏡だと思いますよ。今や聡子ちゃんにとって唯一の肉親はサトシ君だけなのかもしれませんからね。
そうですね。そんな気がしてます。
Satoshi-kun said with a slight hint of a sigh. He doesn't say it, but it seems Satoshi-kun has grown tired of having to cover for Satoko-chan every time she and her aunt fight. He's a good person, as well as a good big brother. So I'm sure he'll do anything to cover for his sister. But that's a very exhausting thing to keep doing forever. Satoshi-kun was already doing that when their parents were alive. Eventually, his mental equilibrium couldn't handle the strain. He grew sick, and he visited my clinic. I thought that his circumstances might have improved after their initial cause. His parents were gone. But it seems things were even worse than
わかり、
before.
そんな状況で聡子ちゃんを退院させたらまた心の症状がぶり返してしまうかもしれませんね。 入院費のことは気にしないでください。さとこちゃんが本当の意味で回復するまで、私が責任を持ってお預かりします。
Yeah, you're not gonna dissect her, motherfucker? Huh? Are you sure about that? While trying to pretend I'm listening to his request, I feel a little disgusted at myself for making such selfish excuses. I'll make sure Takano-san is working on her dissection plan as we speak.
お願いできると僕も少しだけ助かります。
はい？
いえ、さとこがもうしばらく入院しててくれたら僕もその分気が楽だなって思っただけです。
それはどういう意味ですか？
さとこが帰ってきたらどうせまたおばと喧嘩をするだろうと思います。そうしたらまた喧嘩や怒鳴り声ばかりの日になって僕もそれに巻き込まれるのかなって思うと、さとこはずっと入院しててくれるの
Subathon this
が
month, perhaps?
一番僕にとって気楽なことなんじゃないかって。
Nothing for. There's nothing to have a subathon for.
嫌になります。
サトシ君。
Satoshi-kun is a great big brother who always sticks up for his little sister. To celebrate finishing Higu. Ooh, a Higuthon?
そんなことを考えてしまうなんて僕はなんて悪い兄なんだろうって思います。そうだと思えば思うほど自分が嫌になって。
Satoshi-kun said, sniffling once. His expression was one of anguish, as if truly feeling his own sin. His desire to be a model big brother is putting him under a great pressure. Feel bad for Satoko-chan, but I also feel bad for Satoshi-kun in a different way. As someone who knows the both of them very well, I feel that I must be their ally, since they don't have anyone else who cares about them. Yeah? You gonna stop dissecting, Satoko? Okay. Don't have either of those yet. Really? I guess they didn't. Oh, what are we missing here? Requesting assistance from a queen? Do we? Research needs to have hit its first snag. We have not gotten an instruction for kidnapping operation of Minister's grandson. We don't have that. We did? When? When the fuck do we get... Wait, when did we get early on when Takano said? It wasn't really direct, though. It was like... I didn't think that was, like, clear enough. Like it was insinuated. Wait, then I could have done this a long time ago. No? What was the other requirement? Huh. I thought that was like too vague. I thought it needed to be more direct. The very night, the head of the Furude family, the priest, gathered his wife and Rika together for a family meeting. In Hinumazawa, it was a tradition for the three families to gather and discuss the village's issue. So it's hardly unusual for big families like the Sonozaki family and the Kimiyoshi family to have a meeting beforehand to sort out opinions amongst themselves. However, the Furude family had lost its branch family, so there were only 3 of them left. So until that day, they had never had a family meeting at all.
どうしたんですか、改まって。ひょっとして
My god.
ダムに関わる
New
お話です
voice.
か？
Rika's mom. The dam was the most important issue in the village at the moment. Okay. The wife naturally assumed the priest wanted to talk about the dam. For him to gather all of them together like that, it must be a huge decision he had to make. Perhaps he was going to talk about joining the pre-evacuation camp.
いや、ダムの話ではない。だが、この
New
村に
voice
関わ
again,
る、
Rika's
い
dad.
や、この村のご先祖様たちにも関わる、とても大事な問題だ。
The Furude family had served in the priesthood of Oyashiro-sama, the guardian deity of the village, for generations. So for him, the head of the family, to start out that way, it must be something extremely important. Yet he said it wasn't about the dam, so what could he want to talk about?
私は入り婿だ。だから、フルデ家の本当の血を受け継ぐお前とリカには、よく聞いてほしい。お前たちは、普通の人間ではないのだ。
What the fuck?
僕はお社様の生まれ変わりなのですよ。
I mean...
リカ、そういうのは口にしてはいけません。あなた、そういう話はリカのいないところでしましょう。それでなくっても、集会所の年寄りたちがリカに妙なことばかり吹き込んで。
その、お社様の生まれ変わりというのが、どうも、本当らしいのだ。
は？
少し長い話になる。
How does...
二人ともしばらく黙って私の話を聞きなさい。
The wife had a dumbfounded expression on her face, not knowing what he was going to say. But Rika was completely relaxed, wearing her usual carefree expression. The priest started to talk about after his wife calmed down.
この村には大昔からある病気があるのだ。
But I don't think he has the ability to actually converse with Hanyu.
それはこの地にだけある特別な病気。
This is only the females of the Furude family that can do that. And he's definitely not a female.
それにはこの村に住む者が全
And
員
he's
かかってい
also
る。
not true Furude blood.
今この村に住んでいる者だけではない。
How the fuck does he know all this?
大昔から住んでいたご先祖様たちもみんなずっとこの病気にかかってきたのだ。
Wait, maybe someone leaked it to Rika's dad, and that's why maybe the mountain dogs had to be deployed to kill him and the wife?
そんな。
And Rika was assumed to be maybe too young to even really understand. Did they know that Rika was the queen carrier this early on?
だって私たちはみんな普通に生活していますよ。この村だけの病気なんて聞いたこともない。
落ち着きなさい。その病気はな、この村にいる限り何も問題はないのだ。だがこの村を出て遠くの地へ行くと発病してしまう。わかるか？
わかるわけないでしょ。何のことだかさっぱり。
お社様のたたりと同じなのです。
Rika said it so calmly while her mother became frustrated.
そうだ。 この村から離れるとたたりがあるのと同じなのだ。
He's the priest, he has the fruity scrolls? But then why wouldn't the wife know?
つまり
Because she's a female
お社
descendant
様の
of
たたり
fruity
だと
blood. She
ご
would
先祖様たち
be
が
a
代々恐れ
candidate
てきたのは
for a
この村だ
reincarnation
け
of
にしかない
Oishiro-sama, no?
風土病のせいだったのだ。
そんなことあるわけないです。だって私たちだって時には村を離れることもあるじゃないですか。村の人だって仕事で遠くへ出かける人だっているし、海外に出かける人だって。
うん、それは長い長い時間を経て病気が徐々に弱まってきたかららしい。
ジョジョ？
だからこのままさらに長い時間をかければ消えてなくなってしまうものだったのだ。だがそれがダム戦争のせいでおかしくなったらしい。ダム戦争で今村中が熱に浮かされたように興奮している状態にあるのはみんなも分かっているだろう。そういう興奮状態や情緒不安定な状態はこの病気を悪化させてしまうらしいのだ。
よく話が分かりませんけど、つまりこの大昔からたたりだと呼んできたものは全てその病気の仕業だとおっしゃるんですね。
そうだ。お社様の作った決まりは全てこの病気から村人を。
そんな。それじゃお社様は神様ではなく病気が正体なんですか？
No.
そんなこと。
She's lost in the sauce, bro.
フルデ家代々のご先祖様たちに説明できますか？
落ち着きなさい。お社様の信仰は変わらない。お社様がひなみ沢を見守ってくださることに何の変わりもない。お社様のたたりを再現する病気がこの村には大昔からあったということ、それだけなんだ。
そんなのは認められません。そんなこと亡くなった先代や先々代に説明できますか？
Why does she keep saying that as if she's talking to them actively or something?
フルデ家数百年の伝統に対する、いえお社様に対する冒涜です。そんなことをあなたに吹き込んだのは誰ですか？失礼極まりない。大地、そんな変な病気が実在するという証拠があるんですか？
ある。
それはどんな？誰が？
Uh-oh.
厚生省と国立感染症予防研究所の方からだ。
Wait, what? Why would they tell him?
病原体もすでに特定され、現在治療方法などを研究している最中だという。先週実際にその資料や標本などを見せてもらった。厚生省の方はこの病気をひなみ沢症候群と呼んでいるらしい。
そんな。
No, if he saw the research in the samples, then he has to be like in the know.
ひなみ沢症候群は普通に生活している分には何も影響のない無害なものらしい。だがひなみ沢を遠く離れたり精神や情緒が不安定になったりすると発病しやすくなるという。
This guy's sus.
発病すると妄想などに取りつかれ、最悪の場合異常行動に出ることもあるらしい。この病気は戦争中に発見されたんだそうだ。戦地でひなみ沢の兵隊だけ異常な病気を起こすことがあるのに、偉い学者の先生が気がついて 研究がずっと進められてきたんだという。
Distinguished scholar?
その辺の話
Is
は
that what Takano
だ
called
い
him?
ぶ詳しくしてもらったんだが、すまん、
Holy grandpa glaze.
難しい内容だったので、私の口からはこれ以上うまく説明できん。もし私の説明では納得できんというなら、お前も直接話を聞いてみればいい。私だって最初は何をバカなことを、お社様を冒涜する気かと憤慨していたのだから。その病気を研究するために入江診療所が作られたというんだ。あそこは表向きはただの診療所ということになっているが、実際は病気を調べるための隠し研究所らしい。
秘密で研究しているなんてうさんくさいじゃないですか。それも厚生省がやっていることなら堂々とやればいいじゃないですか。
いや、そうはいかんらしい。
Yeah, this motherfucker knows too much, I feel like.
この病気の実態を把握しないまま存在するという事実だけが不十分な知識で広まってしまったら、病気を持っている人たちはもちろん無関係の人々も勘違いした差別を受けることになる。ひなみ沢の人間は皆怪しげな病気にかかっていて、そのせいでとんでもないことをするかもしれないなどという噂が日本中に知れ渡ったら大変だ。厚生省もそのことを心配していて、この病気については厳重に伏せた上で治療を目指すらしい。勘違いするな。私たちを見せ物にするというんじゃないぞ。この病気を根絶させ、この村を病気から解放しようとしているのだ。自給自足ができていた大昔ならともかく、現代では村から一歩も出ずに生活など成り立たん。
Rika left the room, right? She's not. Okay, but I mean, we already knew she knows all this.
村から出るだけで
Okay.
発病するかもしれない病気など、村人にとってどれほど危険なものかわかるだろ。
But then it makes you wonder. Why they kept Rika alive?
繰り返しになるが、昨今反ダム戦争で村全体が強い興奮状態にあって、ひなみ沢将校軍にとって非常に良くない状態にあるらしい。
もし村人がおかしくなって大変なことをしたら、きっとマスコミがパシャパシャでいっぱいなのです。
そうだ。うん。そうなったからでは手遅れなのだ。
そんな、いきなり言われても信用できませんわ。本当に相手は国の人？
True?
変な詐欺に騙されてるんじゃないですか？
信用できんのも無理はない。先方は研究所はいつでも見に来ていいと言っている。
Why? Why would they be telling the Furude
私は
family
も
all
う見せ
this?
てもらっているが、あれは詐欺とかそういうレベルではない。
Unless they already had the concept of the Queen Carrier since long before.
ゴグラの大病院でもあんな大掛かりな設備はないぞ。お前も私の話に納得できないなら、研究所で詳しい話を聞かせてもらうといい。私よりもっと詳しく説明してくれるだろう。向こうは研究所の説明でも納得できないなら、 東京の国立研究所で説明してもいいし、厚生省の本庁舎で直接説明してもいいと言っている。
でも信じる信じないは別にして、それが私たちにどういう関係があるんです？
古出家は代々お社様の血を受け継ぐと言われている。そして8代続いて女子が生まれれば、その8代目はお社様の生まれ変わりであるとも。
Oh, so the mother. Okay, I forgot. It's only the eighth. Okay. So the mother doesn't fucking know shit.
そうですわ。私が7代目、リカが8代目。でもそれとその病気に何の関係があるというんです？
このひなみ沢症候群という病気はある種の寄生虫によるらしい。虫といってもものすごく小さい、人の目には決して見えんくらいに。その虫たちには親分格がいるというのだ。
Oh, so that's why they might.
まさか
They want the
それ
queen,
がフルデ家だとおっしゃるんですか？
which they probably think is Rika.
その親分格の寄生虫は代々古出家の直系だけに受け継がれるらしい。つまり
Okay, how would they have any proof of that though? How would they have any proof that the queen carrier is passed down through the fucking Frude family?
今は理科だ。
バカバカしい。そんな話やっぱりおかしいですわ。大体ですね。
だから私では説明が下手だ。専門の人に説明を受けなさい。そして彼らが言うには、この病気の治療を研究するためには親分格の研究が不可欠だというのだ。
嫌です。そんな怪しげな研究まっぴらごめんですし、理科だってそんな研究には関わらせません。
だから落ち着きなさいというのに。彼らの研究ではひなみ沢症候群は村から離れると発病するのではなく、親分格から離れると発病するということらしいのだ。お前も小さかった頃、村人から神通力があると言われていたことがあるだろう。遠方に出かけ片頭痛などにかかったお年寄りがお前に払ってもらうとたちまち頭痛が消えたという神通力。それこそが親分格の証拠でもあるというのだ。フルデの血には発病者を救う力がある。それを研究するのは治療薬を見つけるためにもとても重要なことなのだそうだ。
僕を研究すると村のみんなが助かるのですか？
先方はそう言っている。
その病気は村の全員がかかっているのですか？僕もみんなもさとこも？
村に住む人間全員だけでなく、沖宮に住む親類なども全て含むそうだ。多分何千人という規模になるだろう。それだけの大変な病気だから、厚生省がわざわざたくさんの予算を投じて専門の研究所を作ってくれたのだ。
私は反対です。
Why is she so against this
しか
though?
もそんな怪しげな研究の生
She's
贄
not
に
being a
するだなんて。
sacrifice. Like, it's not like they're gonna fucking dissect
僕は
her.
いいのですよ。僕が生贄でさとこが助かるなら全然平気なのです。
リカは黙っていなさい。とにかく絶対反対です。あなたにそんな妙なことを吹き込んだ人たちには私が直接会ってはっきりとお断りをします。リカを変な実験で殺されてたまるものですか？大体リカはフルデ家のたった一人の跡継ぎなんですよ。もしものことがあればフルデの血はここで絶えてしまうかもしれないじゃないですか。 あなたはもっとですね、フルでの家のことを考えていただかないと。そんなだから村の人たちに日和見主義とかなんとか言われて。大体おかしいじゃないですか。建設省は村をダムに沈める、厚生省は村の病気を治す。何が何だかさっぱりわからないです。
厚生省はこの病気は
Rika's
環境
mom's
の
gone
変化で
full
大変
tinfoil
発
hat.
病しやすいと警告していて、建設庁に対しダム計画を中止するよう働きかけてくれているそうだ。だからお前も研究所を見せてもらいなさい。あれだけの大設備をダム湖に沈むかもしれない土地に。
Rika's sleepy. Rika let out a big yawn. It was long past bedtime for a little girl like
僕は
her.
もう寝ますです。父さん、僕はいつでも協力するとその人たちに言っておいてくださいなのです。
そんなことお母さんに断りなく勝手に決めちゃいけません。リカ、待ちなさい、リカ。
Okay. So, Queen Carrier is willing to participate now. When researching Hinamizawa syndrome, there is something very important that needs to be discussed first. If something happens to the Queen Carrier, the village will collapse. In his article, my grandfather called it the most dangerous situation. According to my grandfather, if the Queen Carrier dies, all the infected peoples will go terminal within 48 hours. This may sound unbelievable at first, but research on the collapse of past local religions and group suicides around the world should indicate that there's some truth to it. Okay, fucking... I don't think Jonestown or whatever the fuck it's called is like they had a Queen Carrier. I'm pretty sure they forced everybody to fucking just drink like cyanide-laced Kool-Aid. Among all the mysterious incidents around the world, there are some that were caused by parasites controlling entire communities, very similar to Hinamizawa syndrome. Grandfather picked a few cases that are very similar to the syndrome and investigated them. As a result, he confirmed multiple cases of entire communities losing their mind after the death of a religious leader or a founder, and finally annihilating themselves. He stated that, on average, it happened within 48 hours. It's clear that infected people are affected by the Queen Carrier, and the condition of the Queen Carrier is, in fact, affecting the entire village. Our statistics already prove that on weeks Rika felt sick and visited the clinic, we saw an exceptionally high number of visitors. Rika being sick with a simple cold had a massive impact. If something particularly bad happened to her, we'd be facing a serious situation within 48 hours. That's why the Idia Institute has to protect Rika Furude, Queen Carrier. It's the most important mission of the Hinamizawa Syndrome research project. She's already agreed to help us in our project, but we have to be very careful not to put her in any danger. Also, we have to protect her from anyone who would try to harm her. Her life is equal to the lives of 2,000 villagers. But what if something happens to her by accident? The Idia Institute must prepare for that situation. That's why I worked on the draft of an emergency manual when the Idia Institute was first established. It's a precaution in case the Queen Carrier dies, or if infected people show acute symptoms due to death of the Queen Carrier. This is an emergency procedure which must be followed within 48 hours of the mass occurrence of the acute symptoms. The final measure is to prevent the damage from spreading to nearby areas. The plan uses gas, making it look like a natural disaster. My client, the Alphabet Project, took the responsibility of working out the details of the plan. They're used to dealing with things like nuclear and biological weapons, so they ended up being such a big help. There's no way I could have come up with a plan on my own to execute 2,000 villagers. Through a dummy company, the ground SDF have secured a closed quarry in the Yaguchi region upstream of Hinamizawa. It's to be a secret storage base for the equipment we'd use in that operation. Equipment that sprays deadly gas that kills people as if they were falling asleep is stored here. In the case of an emergency, a special unit of ground SDF is to use this equipment to destroy the village. However, preparing for the execution of the villagers itself is politically dangerous. So if I'm going to insist on them getting the equipment ready, I have to make them understand how dangerous Shinimazawa syndrome is, and also how urgent the need is to have a contingency plan. I have to prove the need for the plant by providing them enough data. So the files my grandfather kept intact come in quite handy. When the clients read my grandfather's articles about the syndrome, they were surprised to see how catastrophic things could be in the worst case scenario.
つまり女王である一人の少女に何かがあれば村人2000人以上が全員錯乱するということなのですね。
はい。ひなみ沢症候群に極めて類似するいくつかのケースでは集団自殺を示すものが少なくありませんが、ひなみ沢症候群の場合、強い疑心暗鬼や過剰なまでの危機意識から何かの過剰防衛を行う可能性があり、被害は感染者2000人にとどまらないものと推定されます。それらは無政府状態の暴動から始まり、猟奇的なあるいは宗教的終末感にも似た異常な状況を作り出すでしょう。これに対する事前の鎮圧策を用意しなかった場合、世界の注目を浴びることは避けられません。また、その猶予は事態発生から48時間しかありません。
つまりいざことが起こったらもう誰にも防げないということですな。
感染者全員を48時間以内に全員治療することは不可能なのかね。
無理だろう。それに治療方法すら確立していないし、研究所の規模では村人全員の救済は物理的に不可能だ。しかしこのような恐ろしく珍しい病気があるとは世の中わからんもんですな。
常に最悪の事態に備えることは国防にも通じますし、我々アルファベットプロジェクトの理念でもあります。そして使うことが目的なのではなく、備えることそのものが肝要なのです。
確かにおっしゃる通りですな。運用規定については決済区分の強化などまだ検討したいところはありますが、最悪の事態に対応する準備が必要だということは理解できました。
都市沈黙船の研究班にひなみ沢地区沈黙船のシミュレーションをさせましょう。これは至急行われる必要があると思います。こうしている間にも女王感染者の少女が車にはねられて死んでしまう可能性だってあるのですから。高野さんさ、ありがとう。また質問しますので着席してくださって結構です。
Thanks to a push from one of my backers, things were decided without too much of a problem. It took me almost all day to explain it to them, but it only took a short time to come to a decision. Nobody criticized, ridiculed, or tried to reject my grandfather's article out of hand. In the files they are all reading today are the very same shameful articles those haughty authorities left their footprints on as they trampled them and my grandfather's heart. But they aren't ridiculing the articles. They are reading what was once rejected. It's nothing big at a glance, but in this moment, my grandfather's research is being recognized for the first time. My heart is filled with satisfaction to see people discussing amongst each other while pointing to my grandfather's files and raising them as proof. My God, release the grandfather files. Grandpa in heaven, can you see this? Yeah, what Grandpa been up to, huh? Okay. Huh. These still haven't happened. Still hasn't happened. Wait, I think we could do this, right? Oh, here we go.
フルデさん、お待たせしました。今、最後の検査を終えたところです。もうすぐ戻ってくると思います。
娘が村のために役に立てばいいのですが。
とんでもない。リカさんの協力は村を救うことにもなります。 おかげでようやく治療方法にも目処がついてきたところです。仕組みはまだ調べているところですが、リカさんの存在がやはり村人にとってとても大切なものであることが分かってきました。レベルの進んでしまった一般感染者は自力ではそのレベルを下げて症状を安定させるのが非常に困難です。ですが女王感染者に接近することで脳内にある種の物質が作られることが分かっています。その物質には鎮静効果があり、また進んでしまった症状のレベルを抑え回復させる力もあるようなのです。この物質を処方できるようになれば治療の強力な決め手となるでしょう。
そうですか。理科にそのような力が。
驚かれるには値しないのでは。
Don't trust this bitch.
フルデの巫女には荒れた心、鬼を鎮める神追力があると代々伝えられているんではありませんでしたっけ。私たちが解明しなくても村の数百年にわたる歴史はすでにそれを知っていたわけですわ。
そうですね。大昔の方の聡明さは時に現代医学から見ても感心させられます。
検査が終わったのです。
リカ、大変だったな。疲れただろ。これで自動販売機でジュースを買ってきなさい。
血をいっぱい抜かれたから補給なのです。
Rika took the 100 yen coin that was offered to her and ran out into the hallway.
本当にリカさんの協力のおかげです。彼女が献身的に協力に応じてくれなければこれほどまでに研究が進むことはありませんでした。
リカは自分の友達もその病気にかかっているということを気にしていて、友達のためにも協力したいと常に言っていました。どうか先生方、リカの心意気を汲んでやってください。
もちろんです。毎週日曜日に貴重な時間を割いていただいているのです。必ずや成果にしてみせます。今後もリカさんに過酷な実験を強いることがあると思いますが、どうかお許しいただければと思います。
彼女に危害を加えることは絶対にありませんわ。
Yeah? Fucking Takano bitch. You got her alive.
彼女はとても大切な身なのです。何しろお社様の生まれ変わりなんですから。
大昔の村人はどのようにしてこの病気のことを知り、フルデ家にその女王の血が流れていることを知ったのやら。ご先祖様たちにはつくづく頭が下がります。
それで実はまた辛いご協力をお願いしなくてはなりません。彼女の脳脊髄液の採取のご許可をいただきたいのです。また場合によっては彼女の頭蓋に線香を開け直接頭部の中を検査させていただくことになるかもしれません。
Ain't no way you allow them to do that to your daughter.
頭蓋骨に穴ですか？
もちろん安全性には最大限注意します。リカさんはたった一人しかいない女王感染者なのです。間違っても危害を加えることがないよう私どもで最も安全な方法を模索した上で提案させていただいています。
もちろんリカちゃんは女の子ですもの。頭部先行周辺の頭髪には気を使いますので丸坊主にしてしまうようなことはありません。
The hell, did you have a bald spot?
ただ経過を慎重に見るためにしばらく入院をしてもらうことになりますが。
もちろんその間面会謝絶ということはありません。検査にもぜひ立ち会ってください。お父さんが身近におられた方が リカさんも安心するでしょう。
その検査はどうしても必要なもので、絶対に安全なものなのですか？
脳脊髄液の採取も頭蓋の選考もどちらも 100% の安全を保証することはできません。常に 1% の危険があります。
So what if they just accidentally fucked up right here and then Rika
ま
died?
たリカさんに身体的あるい
You
は
think this loop
精
where
神
this
的
just
苦
failed
痛
and
を与え
Rika
るで
died
しょ
and their loop started over?
う。いくら重要な検査といえどもご家族の同意なしには行えません。
リカちゃんには実はもう同じ話をしていますわ。
リカはなんと？
自分は構わないと、それはもうあっけらかんと。
Of course she said yes.
リカさんにはですがやはり保護者の方の承諾をいただかないわけにはいきません。
リカは自分のことを本当にお社様の生まれ変わりだと信じている時があります。だから村人のために自分の身を捧げるのが自分の義務だと思っているところがあるのかもしれません。
立派なお子さんだと思います。
一応家内とも相談させてください。
She's not gonna fucking be
納
happy.
得はしてくれているのですが、やはりことがことなので話をしないわけにもいかない。
ええ、ご家族の同意は不可欠だと思います。よくご相談なさってください。
その検査は病気の根絶のために重要な意味があるのですね。
はい、ひなみ沢症候群のベールを剥ぐ決定的なものになるでしょう。
決定的なものの第一歩にですわね。
すでにご説明しておりますように、女王感染者に万一のことがあった場合、感染コミュニティに致命的な崩壊をもたらす危険性が予見されています。平たく申し上げると、村人全員が突如として末期発症を起こす可能性もあるということです。
ええ、急性発症の平均から見て、女王感染者死亡から48時間以内に全感染者が末期発症を起こします。それだけは絶対に防がなくてはなりません。
リカが死ぬようなことがあれば村中が大パニックに陥って恐ろしいことに。
はい、それを防ぐのも私たちの役目です。そのために危険を冒さなければならないのはとても皮肉なことですが、根絶のためには避けて通れない道だと思っています。
入江先生、必ずその検査を成功させていただけますか？
ですから医学には 100% や絶対などという。
Why do they keep repeating the same thing? Oh, that's visual novels for you. That's just how they are.
ええ、
He answered with a nod, interrupting Takuno's vague response.
私入江京介が命を懸けて必ずやリカさんを救います。村人も救います。
Oh, idiot, you naive man.
絶対にです。
He doesn't know he has Satan next to him right now.
わかりました。家内と相談させてください。その上で後日改めてお返事させていただきます。
はい、よろしくお願いいたします。
Oh, nobody hears this bitch? She's not laughing quietly. She's like laughing really loudly. The Rika and her father left. Takuno started to laugh. Like, does the idiot not hear this shit?
どうしましたか？
Oh, never mind.
何か愉快なことでも。
Bro, nah, idiot. There ain't no way you keep working with this psycho bitch after like all your suspicions.
いえいえ、患者とご家族から 律儀に事前承諾を取られていたのがなんだ。
リカさんには本来無用の苦痛を強いています。それくらいは最低限の礼儀だと思いまして、去年の男も正常な状態にあれば事前承諾を取りたかったところです。
入江所長はここの研究を始められてからずっと罪の意識に苛まれているのではありません？
それはどういう意味ですか？
This type of teasing was normal from Takano, but maybe she had gone a little too far. Irie made it clear how displeased he was to hear that.
ひなみ沢症候群の研究は生きた検体を裁くことでしか進められない。それが分かってなお、あなたはこの研究を進めることに罪の意識を感じている。
罪の意識は必要です。殺人であれ、解剖であれ、相手に死を強いる点で変わりません。私たちはその罪を受け止めてなお、その死を無駄にしないために最大限の努力と研究を重ねなくてはなりません。
ご高説ですわね。では入江所長、あなたはこれまで人の脳を切り取ることに何度の事前承諾を取られたというんですの
Irie didn't think Takano knew about
あ
that.
なたの人の罪は脳の疾患によるものという独りよがりで、一体何人の患者が事前承諾なく脳を切除されたんですの？
それは
常識は時代で変わる。当時は医者が治療をいちいち説明することなどなかったし、事前承諾なんて大したものではなかった。だから当時のことは気にしなくていいんじゃないですかしら。今は倫理上問題があっても当時は問題なかった。ならばいいじゃありませんの。でもそれに罪を
Has
感じて
Sakura's
いる
VA
なら、
voiced
リ
any
カちゃ
other
んやあの
characters?
男にさえも事前承諾が取りたかった。
Miko Ito. Android 18? Jaguar Man? In a fake Grand Carnival? Yeah, even from Umineko, yeah, but I was thinking outside of the fucking Umineko Higurashi universe. Bro, Jaguar Man is the most random fucking shit ever. Why is she the voice? She's the voice of Jaguar Man and Taiga from FGO, which is so random. Well, I guess Taiga's from not just FGO, but there's really nobody else. The world God only knows. Some manager chick. No. That's it. It's really just Android 18. Damn. I've never listened to Android 18's fucking JP voice. Holy Jesus Christ, man. Android 18's been around the block or what? She's got like 5 million roles as Android 18. She's Harley Quinn in the Justice League Japanese voiceover. Wait, that's actually like a really good fucking choice. Wait, she actually has like probably the perfect voice for Harley Quinn. Okay, okay. She was some random chick from Detective Conan. She was a raccoon in Jungle Book. Shonen Mowgli. crazy. She was in Mobile Suit Gundam, Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam as Minerva Lao Zabi. I don't fucking know, right? Interesting.
それは誤解です。そもそも治療と解剖では患者。
Bro, I could totally imagine Takano shit talking Vegeta as Android 18.
ねえ坊や。
Oh shit. She just called idiot boy.
あなたが欲しいのは事前承諾という名の免罪符。そうでしょ。あなたが欲しいのは過去の罪をあがないたいという心を満たすだけの欺瞞、そのためだけの免罪符。後悔しているならば二度と脳に関わらなければいい。なのにだらだらと後悔しながら
I think she's just basically calling him a pussy bitch to just own what he's fucking doing instead of a half pussyfooting it.
その罪の意識が本物なら、あなたはあの時所長就任の話を断ればよかったはず。そうでしょう、坊や。
Damn it, she keeps calling him fucking. Bro, the way she says boy is kind of hot as fuck though.
とても深いです。私は失礼させていただきます。
Oh my god, idiot, you're literally just proving to her that you are a pussa.
聞きなさい。医学は常にその時代の倫理や価値観との戦いから勝ち取られる。かつて高野先生がひなみ沢症候群の存在を予見した時、その時代の権威たちは自分たちの無知を棚に上げ、その先見性を嘲笑った。
Nah, you know this Takano bitch 100% would have been wanting to be a part of that World War II Japanese like experimental group. Like she's a crazy lady.
でも病に倒れる直前まで研究を捨てなかったわ。必ず自分がいつか評価される日が来ると信じて、そしてその日が自分の死後であったとしても必ず来ると信じて。
How'd she end up this way though? Right? Wasn't her grandfather like such a nice person? Like, you'd think she'd be a better person than this like mean-spirited lady.
それは強い信念と揺らぎのない鉄の意志があるから成し遂げられること。
I mean, yeah, there was the orphanage thing, you know, but still.
そうでなければ時代の無理解に高野先生は屈していたはず。
How about the torture was only for like a day or so, remember? Like, the Dr. Takano like found her like pretty quickly.
研究はね、意志の力で成し遂げるのよ。絶対的に強固な意志だけが結果を紡ぎ出す。でもあなたにはそれがない。あなたは自分の実績を誇るべきか恥じるべきかすら自分で決めかねている臆病者よ。そんな中途半端な覚悟でよくこのような研究所の所長を引き受けられたものね。血塗られた両手をさらに血に浸すことでしか明かせぬ研究。
Holy fuck, bro. It is getting cooked. He's just getting full cooked.
否定はしません。私は中途半端かもしれない。
Why is she cooking him so hard though? Like, come on.
ならば所長を辞任なさっては。
Don't you need him?
守秘義務は残るでしょうけど、あなたはこれ以上罪の意識に苛まれなくて済むでしょう。私にとってあなたはパートナーである以前にクライアントが要求した人事上の駒でしかない。こうして研究機関が成立した今、あなたの存在はもう重要ではないの。しかもその上、研究に対する覚悟が足りず、研究のパートナーとしても役立たずなら、 あなたは無能の用なしよ。
Holy shit.
私は一人でも研究をやめない。どんな罪も後悔を恐れない。強固な意志だけが未来を紡ぐ。かつて高野先生が高潔な精神で成し遂げたように、私もたった一人でも成し遂げてみせる。
立派な決意だと思います。ですが私もあなたに及ばないにしてもわずかの決意があってここへ来ています。そしてあなたの言う通り、私の手はすでに血にまみれています。そしてひなみ沢に来てさらに血に浸しました。だからその責任を全うするまでは私は逃げることはできません。相変わらず私は罪を清算できず苛まれ続けるでしょう。でも逃げない。必ずひなみ沢症候群の研究を決着させます。それだけがこの研究に命を捧げてくださった方、そしてこれから捧げることになるかもしれない方への最後の誠意だと思っています。
Idia wore a determined look on his face. He appeared different from even a moment before, when he was baffled by Takano having brought up those painful memories. For a short while, Idia's eyes displayed his strong will, and then he turned
お
around.
そらくリカさんの検査は承諾が取れるでしょう。準備をお願いします。
ええ、所長。
They got their consent the following week. This is how you know that Idia is still like really fucking like obsessed with the research, because like Takano could sit here and full on fucking roast his ass and he still would just come back. You know? Bro is too determined. This is highlighted. I'm assuming that's activatable now. We need to find, there's ones with... Oh, this is activatable too. Depression of a Shinto priest. Plans for Satoko-chan's dissection are moving right along. I don't want Satoshi-kun to be sad. I feel pity for Satoko-chan and her harsh circumstances. I'm still struggling with how much I have to sacrifice for the sake of research.
入江。
え？ああ、すみません。うっかりしていました。どうなさいましたか、リカさん。
僕の友達がずっと長く入院していますが、その子はひなみ沢症候群ではないのですか？
それを誰に聞きましたか？
僕がそう思っただけです。どうなのですか？入江、聡子はひなみ沢症候群ではないのですか？
Rika-chan is on our side. There's nothing I have to hide from her. Actually, I probably shouldn't keep anything from her.
はい。両親との不仲と、その両親の突然の死。彼女の心には、それは一度に受け入れるには、あまりに大きすぎる出来事でした。それが引き金になったのかもしれません。
検査の結果は？
演技。
レベル5です。上辺は非常に安定して見えますが、情緒は非常に不安定です。先日から サトシ君の見舞いも謝絶にしました。
Oh, there's refused to meet Satoshi.
サトシに聞きましたです。サトコの心の傷がなかなか言えないと気にしていましたです。入江、サトコはどうなるのですか？
Satoko-chan is Rika-chan's best friend. How can I tell her that we're planning to dissect Satoko-chan? However, even if I don't say anything, she already knows that Satoko-chan's situation is extremely poor.
入江は僕の体を調べてたくさんのことが分かったのではないですか？
ええ、それはもちろんです。症状を抑える効果が期待される試薬も現在いろいろと試しているところです。
それをサトコに与えることはできませんのですか？
一度は考えました。しかしかなり危険です。体力や精神力に余裕がある検体に試し、少しずつデータを集めていこうという段階です。サトコちゃんのようなもう後がない人間に試せるような代物ではありません。
では入江、その薬を試さないならサトコはどうなってしまうのですか？
She spoke as if aware of our plans for Satoko-chan. You think there's a timeline where Satoko actually got dissected? And that's why Rika knows? No, she must actually know. I've told her about most of my research. She's more mature than she looks, so it'll be easy for her to figure out.
僕はサトコが 1% でも助かる可能性があるならそれにかけるべきだと思いますです。
非常に危険な賭けです。最悪の場合、彼女は即座に末期発症し錯乱するか、さもなければ人としての心を失い、一生を焦点の合わない目で壁を見て過ごす体になってしまうかもしれない。どちらもそれはあまりに過酷な運命です。
全身麻酔で痛みを感じさせずに眠ったままを殺す方がずっといいというの。入江、よく高野が言う通り。でもこのまま放置すればサトコを待ち受ける運命は 100% の絶対の死しかない。ならばどちらにかけるかは明白なはず。
そうですね。その通りです。
Oh, here we go. Idiot makes his decision. But I know too well. C-103, the medicine that's being tested may not even be something that can be used. It may not even have a 1% chance of success. Worse, I can't even imagine what kind of tragic end she'd meet if her body rejects the medicine. That's why I'm tempted to believe that it would be far more merciful to feed her favorite food, let her gently fall asleep, and after that dissect her while she dreams. Okay, bro. You do that. I don't want to admit it, but Takano-san is right. I'm being indecisive and showing a lack of resolve. How effective could the medicine made by someone like that really be? So because it was medicine I created myself, I couldn't even believe there might be a 0.1% chance of success.
僕は入江の作った薬なら信用できると思いますです。
She probably had a loop where they tried the thing and it worked. She spoke as if she read my mind. Surprised, I raised my head to look up at her and found her giving me a reassuring look I never would have imagined someone her age capable of.
入江は人の命を左右するとても辛い仕事に耐えている。本来人の生き死になど人間がどうにかしようというのがおこがましいこと。その重圧は背負ったものにしかわからない。
Her voice hasn't changed, but I feel like Rika-chan is admonishing me. Almost as if she knows what it's like to be responsible for human lives.
その重さは罪の意識と後悔の重さを加えて決められる。だから入江はまだまだ危険な薬を聡子に試せない。そうでしょ。
Takano-san said the same thing when she criticized me earlier. I'm being criticized again.
でもだからあなたになら聡子を託せると思う。
え？
人の命はとても重い。その重みに耐えかねるのはあなたが人の命を大切にしたい心があるからこそよ。
What the fuck is this Fries guy typing again? LeBron really needs to fucking lock back in.
そんな心
His
がな
number
く
one
して
fan Fries is losing his
ど
mind.
うして人を病気から救えるというの？高野
Ooh,
みた
she's
い
doing
に
the face.
人をモルモットとしか思ってないやつの治療薬なんか試せると思う？
How does she think this about Takano already? I shouldn't have laughed, but I couldn't help it. I felt like I should laugh.
高野とあなたがそれぞれに薬を差し出したなら私は入江の薬の方が治るように思う。だって薬は人の心から生み出されるんだもの。自分の身から滴り落ちる雫で人を救いたいという気持ちが人の病を癒してくれる。
おっしゃる通りです。医者が薬のことで諭されるとは。
Bro, you're getting cooked by everybody this entire fucking...
私は自分の体を他でもない聡子のために差し出した。私の体から注射針で抜き出したも
Bro's
のは
getting cooked by a fucking
すべて私から
7-year-old.
聡子に捧げる薬の雫。その雫から命の本当の重さを知る。それが聡子に効かないわけがない。
Do shrine maidens take confessions? If they do, she's doing a great job being a shrine maiden at this
これ
age.
は賭けになります。聡子ちゃんが果たして受け入れてくれるかどうか。
聡子に伝える必要はありません。聡子にとってひなみ沢症候群を知ることは心の深い傷をもう一度えぐることにしかならないのだから。
What did she mean by those words? When I realized it later, I was surprised by how thoughtful and perceptive she was.
解剖計画を中止させましょう。北条聡子に対する C103 投与実験にせめて 1% でもうまくいく確率が上がるように努力します。
大丈夫ですよ。入江、絶対にうまくいきますです。
そんな楽観してはいけません。
大丈夫なのです。もう決まってることなのですから。
Oh yeah, she definitely looped through this shit already.
これはフルデ神社の巫女様の心強いお告げです。ファイトオーなのですよ。
Okay. So we have Satoko dissection rejected. Yep, okay. That's done. Or so we can do that now. Still don't have a lot of these other ones. Wait, I think we could do this one. Yep. Satoko-chan's dissection plan has been scrubbed, and we are getting ready to administer an almost totally untested medicine, C103. This experimental medicine suppresses the production of a certain type of hormone, and in doing so, it will stop the transmission of the syndrome triggering Satoko-chan's condition. The mechanism of Hinamizawa syndrome is as follows. The pathogen takes over the frontal lobe of the patient's brain and then induces increased responsiveness to paranoia. As a result, the patient voluntarily carries out excessively defensive behaviors to a problematic extent. If this induction can be cut off, then it'll be possible to save terminal patients from becoming deranged. But it only cuts off an induction, so it's not really a cure. Ironically, the brain is an organ that learns. Once the brain has learned to be excessively paranoid due to Hinamizawa syndrome, even after the pathogen is eliminated, the brain doesn't simply unlearn that paranoia. In short, even if the pathogen doesn't induce derangement, the patient will be directed to such emotions out of their own volition. Thus, it is impossible to completely escape the nearly deranged L5 state. The proverb, a burnt child dreads the fire, is a good example of this. Even after the burn on your tongue heals, the fear of being burned by food again remains. When it ends up being a good thing, we call it learning a lesson, and we call it trauma when it doesn't. We predict Satoko-chan's treatment will take a significantly long time, requiring both medications such as administering psychotropics and mental care like counseling. We have to slowly unravel her mind's solidified paranoia while also suppressing the syndrome's induction of derangement. This is the treatment plan for terminal patients like Satoko-chan. However, as we are going to stimulate the parts of her brain that affect her emotion while they are being stimulated by a pathogen at the same time, it's possible there could be unexpected side effects. Both her mental and physical strength hold the key to her success. We're going to begin the experiment once she regains her emotional stability and physical strength, but someone who threatens to disturb her emotional stability has been coming here every day. Oishi, the sly old detective. Oh. He thinks everything from the dam protest to the dismemberment murder of the construction managers, an organized effort secretly conducted by the three families of the village. He even by the way, so just in case people don't know, we have pretty much verified that Oishi has been wrong about every single fucking thing in this entire story. Like, he has never been once on the ball on anything. Besides, no, even the Sonozaki's having power, that's obvious. Everybody knows that. So he legitimately has not gotten anything right. That's why he keeps coming back, so he can talk to Satoko-chan. He's actually the worst detective, by the way. He got nothing right, ever.
彼女は両親を亡くしたショックで打ちのめされているんですよ。それを汲み取ることはできませんか？
いやいや、本当にちょっとだけお話が聞ければいいんです。
There he is.
そうお時間を取らせるつもりはないんですがね。令状が必要だってんなら申請しないことはありませんが、そうなる。私も北条さんの容体を気遣っているからこそ、令状を取るなんて無粋を避けているんじゃありませんか。
令状を取ってまで一体何をさとこちゃんに聞こうとしているのか、私にはさっぱりわかりません。
実は今回の転落、事故ではなく事件の可能性もありまして。
北条夫妻がダム戦争以来村中から嫌われているという話は知っています。ですがわざわざ旅行先まで追いかけて突き落とすというのは少々突飛すぎはしませんか。
Satoko herself? They're all ignoring Satoko because Oishi tunnel vision so hard on certain aspects of an investigation, he ignores everything else because he just wants what he believes to be true to be the truth.
まあ事故でもいいんですがね。ならばどうしてもよくわからない嘘があるんです。どうして嘘が必要なのかって考えるとですね、こりゃ事故ってことはありえないんじゃないかなって思うんです。
嘘とは？
いえね、北条聡子さんの言う 事故当時は車で眠っていたっていう話。
Why you believe her ass? Don't believe her.
ちょいと話がおかしいんじゃないかな
Oh,
っ
wait.
て
Okay, hold
そう
up.
思うんです。
Wait a second. Maybe I was too quick to judge you, Oishi. Hold up. Is he cooking? Satoko-chan claims she was asleep in the back of the seat when the accident took place. So she didn't get out of the car at the viewing platform. When she woke up, she didn't see her parents. Then she found out they had fallen off the
それ
cliff.
のどこに嘘があるというんです。まさかさとこちゃんが実は眠っていなくて両親と一緒に展望台へ行ったと。
Yeah, I might have been wrong about Oishi. Hold up. Maybe he is a good detective.
そうです。北条聡子さんは眠ってなんかいなかった。
Okay. Cook?
両親と一緒に車を降りて展望台へ行ったんです。
I'm suddenly hit by a terrible possibility. If what Oishi says is true, and Satoko-chan is saying she didn't go to the viewing platform even though she actually did, it's terrible to even imagine.
何を根拠にそうおっしゃっているのかわかりません。それになぜ嘘をつく必要がさとこちゃんにあるんですか？
Because she murdered her fucking parents?
それなんですよ。なぜ北条聡子さんは嘘をつかなければならないのか。それの本当のところを教えていただけないと、こいつはただの転落事故ってことでは済ませられない。
Well, it's close to solving before he got shot in chapter 7. Yeah, I mean, but chapter 7 was just like the best possible outcome of like everything going possibly right, you know?
どうしてさとこちゃんが嘘をついているとお思いなんです？
今回の事故は所轄が違いますので、白川署さんが関係者から事情聴取をしているんですがね。その調書を読んでみると、どうにも引っかかるところがある。
So maybe this is the Shirakawa Park incident.
とは何ですか？
I completely forgot. The park that they died in, the parents of Satoko was Shirakawa Park.
北条聡子さんの主張によるな
Why
ら
do
ば
we think Satoko killed her parents? Because there was one of the fragments that we read, Satoko basically Satoshi confirmed that Satoko had like derangement to the point where even though her current stepfather was actually a pretty good father and was trying to be nice to her, she just like was treated so badly by previous stepfathers that she thought he was doing all those bad things to her still, even though he wasn't. And then on top of that, she had like this feeling that her parents were out to kill her, so she said she needed to take action first before they kill her. It was like kill or be killed, which clearly insinuates that she probably killed her fucking parents because she was so deranged to the point where she thought that they would be out for her.
彼女は両親に展望台へ行こうと誘われたが、眠たかったのでそれを断り、車を降りなかったという。
This is how you're gonna look in 20 years? No, what?
そして彼女はその
20 years?
相当の時間
Oh,
が
she's
経
like
ってから目を
fucking
覚ました。
70. In 20 years, I'd only be 50.
そしていつまでも戻ってこない両親に不安感を募らせ泣き出した。
He is not 70, bro. He's like retirement age. It's like, okay, 65 maybe.
その声を聞いて巡回中の公園作業員が話しかけて事故が発覚したことになっています。この時ですね、公園作業員の証
That
言
means
では
55.
両親
Japan
が崖下に転落したと
retirement
彼女が
age
先に言ったというん
in
ですよ。
1974. Around there. Oh, it was 55. Fuck! The common retirement age. Okay, alright, listen. Just search Oishi age. Oishi Higurashi age. 59 years old! Ah, you were all wrong. I was closer. He was 59.
ところがこの時、北条夫妻が止めた車の位置からは 問題の事故現場ははっきりと見えたわけじゃないはずなんです。
Bob in a few years? No, 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 no.
いや、注意深く見れば柵が破損していたのを気づけたかもしれない。でもですよ、目が覚めたら両親がいないのを知って真っ先に崖下へ転落したというのは尋常ではないと思うんです。普通は両親が自分を置いてどこかに散歩に行ってしまい戻ってこないというはずなんです。転落する直接の
I
現
said
場を見てもいないのに
60, 65,
両親が
okay?
転落したと第三者にいきなり言うのがね、この辺りどうして彼女は両親が転落したと確信したのか、その経緯を教えてもらいたいと思いまして通い詰めているところだったんですよ。入院前に私も何度かお尋ねはしているんですが記憶にない。当時は混乱していたとまるでどこかの政治家みたいな答弁でしてね。私はじっくり話をしてみる価値があるかなって思っていたんですよ。
That terrifying possibility has turned to a certainty in my head. I'd assumed that her parents accidentally triggered her terminal symptoms, but no, Satsuko-chan had already gone terminal. And just before the accident, her heart was filled with paranoia that drove her mad. She was under a lot of stress because of her bad relationship with her stepfather. She was also being scolded by her mother for not being able to get along with him. If that made her paranoid, made her think her parents considered her to be a bother and were going to kill her. When they went to the viewing platform, she must have thought they were going to push her off the cliff. Then a tragedy took place and she pushed her parents off instead, although she considered it to have been self-defense. I'm certain of that, because I know Hinamizawa syndrome better than anybody. This accident isn't an accident. It isn't a crime either, like Oishi's thinking. It is simply a tragedy. Well, I mean, I guess, yeah, if there's a fucking parasite. When I talked to Satoshi-kun about the family, I was even more convinced. He told me even though Satoko-chan refused to open up to her stepfather, he had tried to communicate with her. It's true their relationship didn't go well in the beginning. Satoko-chan caused trouble repeatedly and even called the city a child abuse hotline. At that point, they received guidance from the Child Consultation Center, and they pointed out that the problem lay in the lack of communication between daughter and stepfather. So the stepfather took a parenting course under the social worker's guidance, and awkward though it was, he made effort to communicate with her. See, he was a good guy. Satoshi noticed his efforts, so he tried to talk to Satoko-chan about it. But Satoko-chan didn't notice him at all. The excessive stress she was under triggered terminal symptoms, and she couldn't understand her stepfather's remorse. On the contrary, her stepfather change created even more mistrust within her. As a result, they went to enjoy the beautiful view of the Shirakawa Nature Park as a family, and to share in that joy, yet that humble, ordinary family's wish couldn't even get through to Satoko-chan. What a tragic misunderstanding. Satoko-chan stayed in the car telling her parents that she wanted to sleep, but then she got out and snuck up behind them. I bet he heard her footsteps. He pretended not to notice her, thinking that she was doing that to surprise him. It's sad just thinking about what must have ran through his mind. While he thought he had finally gotten through to her, she was actually approaching him with the intent to kill. But that's not Satoko-chan's true nature. It's a disease. Satoko-chan isn't the only one who is to be pitied. Her parents are its victims too. And now Oishi thinks she's a criminal. Judgment and punishment are required for crimes with malicious intent. But what she really needs is understanding and sympathy. And no one has that understanding except for me, because I know about Hinamizawa syndrome. I'm the director of the Idiot Institute, but I've never behaved as such or exercised that authority. But I'm going to do so for the first time since taking the position. I'm not doing it as the head of the Idiot Institute, the secret or research organization. I'm doing it as a doctor so I can protect Satoko-chan.
白川自然公園の聡子ちゃんの両親の転落事故ですが、この件事故で決着するように山犬のお好みさんにお願いしてもらうことはできますか？
そんなことお安いご用ですわよ。山犬はそういうものの隠蔽や捏造に最も特化した部隊ですもの。確かに早くあの転落事故が事故ということに決着しないと警察がうちの実験体に近づいて邪魔ですものね。
そういうことです。
Can you summarize what happened so far? Watch the VOD.
特に大石さんがこの件から早く引き上げるようよろしくお願いします。試薬投与実験のデリケートな時期です。不要な進路をかけるのは適当ではありませんので。
まったくですわね。山犬にそのように伝えますわ。警察にもすでにコネクションがあるとのことなので圧力をかけるよう指示しましょう。近日中に白川転落事故は事故として確定することになると思いますわ。
With that, it was declared an accident. If only it really was one, it would have eased Satoko-chan's soul. Getting rid of the pathogen can heal that wounded soul, nor can it erase the tragedy that had already taken place. All I can do is my best so the day she regains her smile comes sooner. Alright. I think that's a good spot to leave off, boys. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. Not bad at all. Very good progress. We are literally at like the last few fragments, I think. So we're almost there. One more fragment? Hell no. Alright, chat. I'll see y'all tomorrow. I think we might check out Poppy Playtime tomorrow. Yes, sir. Ooh. Good night, everybody. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Thank you guys for hanging out as always. Bye-bye.